Hey everyone, it's me. And my son Jeremy just showed me this new program called Spotify. Why do I like it? Well, let's see. Um, why don't I like it, or why shouldn't I like it? It's all about change, isn't it? It's getting rid of the old, or our topic of today's particular situation is how do I get rid of things that no longer serve me? Well, that's a good question. I'm a diehard for CDs. Why? Because I come from the 60s and 70s generation where 8-track was going to cassette, and then, of course, once I got involved with Mel, the cassette had evolved to uh, the CD format, and I have thoroughly enjoyed CDs, and I enjoy the actual connection of my favorite artist through a tangible, hands-on, I can feel it all about you type of platform. But what happens is that I guess things have to grow and evolve. So yes, my son has shown me this new platform called Spotify, and at first I rejected it. And I also went, was it last year, I think, with my mother to a Lorena McKinnon concert, and she was giving away all of these CDs, and go, oh my God, this woman is amazing. She's so generous in giving. And anyway, she's on a platform fighting for the lost child, and one of her prime focuses as well was not respecting artistic work and how much are artists worth. And, you know, when you buy a CD, and I am going somewhere with the CD thing because it's a real bone of contention with me, is that I look at cost factor. And of course, we're going through COVID, and guess what? We all got to get rid of things that no longer serve us and we no longer need. And then a lot of us are going to be crying the blues because it's going to come down to money, isn't it? So let's go back to the CD. When you buy a CD, it costs you, what? If it's old music, maybe $7. But, you know, usually the older CDs you can get between $10 and $20. Now you can no longer, I mean, the CDs are getting less and less and less. So, as you know, I'm utilizing the new evolutionary astrology, and I realize that, as Jeremy says, Mom, things can't stay the same, you know, and you know, when change comes, everybody hates it, and they have to adapt. And of course, since my son is a Gemini, boy, does he ever know how to adapt. He's been through a lot of adapting. He's been through a great big move, and when he moved to West Lorne, he had to get rid of things that no longer served him, which was his old state of mind and his deep connection to family, which he really needed so badly back in Sudbury when we moved back down here. So we gave him a new concept of life. So the CD was kind of the epitome of me picking this subject, because he's now got me on Spotify, and I'm looking at the astrology, and we are moving into a new age, in a new direction, and it's about letting go of things that, well, that I'm holding on tight to. You know, what are you holding on tight to? So everybody's going through different phases of getting rid of stuff. So we're going to go into the concept of when you ask that question, how do I get rid of things that no longer serve me? If you're actually watching this video, it's either for two reasons. One, you've just come across this video and you are just curious. So as Mel says, you're well, in his terms, a crotch watcher. I don't say that. I say you are a cross watcher. But, so you're coming to see what I'm stewing in my pot, right? And of course, I cook a lot, so I'm going to be stewing up hopefully a lot of things because Mel wants me to join him again, which I hope to, if it doesn't give me too many headaches, because I can't stand being on camera. Now, the other reason why you would come by is because you are truly going through this evolutionary process. And I would assume that with the new virus, COVID, it has affected you at a very, very deep level, especially if you have a lot of Capricorn planets. I'm going to use that word, and I'm just going to use it very simple because all of our followers, Goldberry Twin Flame followers, are family of Heartlight. You're not used to hearing these terms. Maybe a few of you are, but not many. So what it is about, it's getting rid of something and changing it, trying to make it better. Now, the question is, there's a process that you have to go through. And so, like me, my life is changing and shifting, and I realized that I needed to upgrade my music. I needed to upgrade a part of me that needed to be in with the new. And of course, being 50, it's not exactly an exciting phase of my life to be 50. But Jeremy got me into the direction of adapting to the new 20-something, to at least the 50-something. And I chose that song, Hilary Duff, the Metamorphosis, right? Because that's what I've been going through for a period of time. So Mel usually goes into these things a lot easier than I do. I have to think about it. Usually I have to have somebody in front of me that's actually talking to me that gets me to talk. Because right now I feel like I'm talking to a wall, which I feel actually is most of my life. Yeah, I do a lot of meditating and a lot of processing, and I think a lot in here, so I don't think out there. And the reason being is because I've been supporting my partner all these years, and I just kind of felt like he had a lot to say. He had a lot to say, and he's at the pinnacle of saying what needed to be said. So I knew that at some point I'd have to jump in and try to put a little perspective on the crazy man's videos so that we could be doing it together. Of course, we always get comments about people saying, oh, you're no longer together. Oh, yeah, we're together. We're just getting rid of things that no longer serve us, right? And that was part of our relationship, was we were getting rid of each other because there was a part of each of us that no longer served us. So you guys can all laugh and giggle at that one because I'm sure you needed that, knowing that I've been out of it for 8 years. But part of it has been because I've been really developing my own program. Let's face it, Mel's 24 years older than me, and he's not going to be here forever. So you can't expect me to survive based on what he has putting out. And let's face it, what we have been going through with the new digital information, right? As they say, there is a part of life that's going to be leaving, and there's a new part coming in. So let's carry on with the aspect of how do you know when or how do you get rid of something that no longer serves you? That is tough because everybody thinks that could be done in minutes. Sometimes that doesn't take minutes. Through my studies with Stephen Forrest and evolutionary astrology, it has taught me that we are one with the universe and we are one with the planets. And life is very fast. And I realize when I walk out of my home every day, life is very fast. And a part of me has been functioning in what some of my clients say, or some of my favorite clients say, is the bubble. So I know Mel talks about the bubble love, but there's also your own bubble. And I never knew I was living in a bubble. Now, some of you probably aren't living in a bubble, but I've been living in a bubble. I've been actually trying to get Mel to go into my bubble, and actually I'm trying to go into his bubble. So we're going in opposite directions. But part of what I was connecting with was getting rid of something is not that easy. It takes time. And time is something that I learned a lot of us take for granted. And it's not until something really hits and it's a cataclysmic experience and, the intensity comes and you have to do something about it. Now, mind you, I'm always a futuristic person, so this is where Mel and I always disagree on things. It's that I'm a futuristic and I'm always looking ahead going, okay, this. And of course, I'm moving into the physical world. Mel's moving where I was in the timeless world. And so that was always our power struggle, was that Mel needed to be in the spiritual timeless world of, I don't have any dreams or visions or goals or aspirations, so can you help me, dear twin flame? Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was helping my twin get into the spiritual world. Why? Because I think he was pretty much electrified all the time by spirit, by the Holy God, taking him in and out of his body, and I had to be there to always help him. So what he forced me to do was come out of my endless, timeless fairy tale concept of twin flames, of love and romance, which Mel does not believe. Although, between you and I, come on, it's about chemistry, isn't it? And you have to have a certain amount of love and romance to bring that passion into a mission. So don't let him fool you. There is an aspect there of romance. He's just hiding it. He's just trying to get a lot of you to compartmentalize your deep emotional baggage. Because he's good at that. He's very good at that. So, okay. So now I have to go into the physical world. That's a big issue. So I have to deal with all of these things daily, coming at me, while Mel is just rolling in the punches, and he's connecting with God, and he's connecting with his higher self, and meanwhile I'm hurrying up, doing all the bookkeeping, and I'm making all the meals, and so you're going to ask me, okay, would you kind of just get with the program here and just get on with the how do I get rid of things that no longer serve me? Well, it's about time, isn't it? Time is a process where we do something over and over and over again, or we experience aspects of our life that we do over and over and over and over again. And then one day we meet someone, or one day we realize that things need to change. And when things need to change, there's a deep feeling within of no satisfaction in your life. So you need to identify it. First of all, you need to identify when that change is. Thankfully, this is what I love about evolutionary astrology, is that I can see the changes coming now, which I'm so excited about. Now I can be in the flow of time and ground myself, whereas I could just take a Mel and shovel him, back in with the angels where he belongs. But unfortunately, that's his journey. That's not my journey. And again, this is where the power struggle comes in, because I'm the physical person. I got to be here. I got to do. Mel gets to just, at his own process, do it when he feels he wants to. And so it's like, okay, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to keep going with it. I'm going to keep going with it. But after a while, even with Mel and I, things needed to change. Certain aspects of who and what we are, even I realized we needed to change. Mel wanted more freedom, and he wanted to be able to freely, be with the clients, but really actually his passion is YouTube. He loves YouTube. I really don't like doing this. I'm here because he wants me to try this a bit, and he figures that, maybe if I talk a bit more, people might get to understand how I do my work in terms of evolutionary astrology. So our platform had to change. He wanted more freedom to actually be by himself. He wanted to create and manifest and work with YouTube videos, and actually I showed him how to do it. And I needed to have more free time away from him to develop who and what I am and a part of my identity, because everybody was always saying, we want more of Nicole. We want more Nicole. Well, okay, that's great, audience. You say you want more of me, but really I didn't have a lot to say because I didn't know who I was. So I realized that who I was, or who I used to be, had to go. So I went on a spiritual journey, and I decided to take evolutionary astrology to understand who I was, to realize I actually indeed had something to say, and that I had a different mode of delivery than what Mel does. Now, needless to say, a lot of people come to me and say, oh, he's booked up? God damn, can you help me? Yeah, I sure can, but, my lingo is not the same as Mel's lingo. Oh, well, that's too bad. But I surprise them, actually. I can do things that Mel can't do. And it's because I've learned things that Mel can't do, and that's about being in the physical. Can I be in the spiritual bubble? Yep, I've been there all my life. But that wasn't my purpose. I needed to get rid of that. So we move on. And how did I get rid of that? Well, you have to take steps to getting rid of something. First of all, you have to acknowledge that there is a problem. 2, you have to acknowledge that you need to change it. 3, you need to figure out if that change requires you to do it by yourself, or if you are going to need another person. And the next point is that it's the emotional and mental and possibly the physical preparation that needs to be considered, and committing to that change, which is where you need to go in order to get rid of things that no longer serve you. So take, for example, your relationship is not functioning for you any longer, but you don't want to give it up. So perhaps going through the process, first of all, of looking deep within yourself and seeing if there's things that you need to change about yourself before you decide to leave your relationship, because maybe it's not a good idea to leave your relationship. Maybe you needed to have that deep inner process of yourself and to recognize that there were perceptions that needed to be changed. Perhaps maybe you weren't such a giving person. Perhaps you were a selfish person, or perhaps you were a doormat that your partner just took you for granted. Or perhaps your lifestyle of how you presently live with your partner needs to be shifted. So before you decide to get rid of the partner, start looking at yourself. Now, having said that, I'm going to revert back to evolutionary astrology. Usually when people are feeling this deep welling of depression, sadness, exhaustion, being tired, we know it's time for a change. Because you will put yourself in a permanent state of the asylum or the mental institution, or a constant Pez, you know those Pez machine of Prozac. Yeah, we don't want that. That's unhealthy and unnatural. At least that's my perception. Perhaps other people choose the pharmaceutical route. That's not what I use. I would use Comsport, passion flower, catnip. I would use valerian, kava. Those are areas of specific plants that would actually help ease the tension and the anxiety and the depression and put you in another state of consciousness. So once again, how to get rid of things that no longer serve us. Well, let's make a step further. So let's use that same, we'll just keep on the relationship because I want to make these videos short. Because my mom told me, please don't make them any longer than 10. And guess what? I'm doing like Mel. I'm actually going over 10. I'm doing 20. That is just horrible. So we need to tighten it down. When things no longer serve you, the question you have to ask yourself is, are you receiving any benefits? Like, are you growing and evolving for a particular situation? And of course, a lot of people say, well, okay, that's pretty basic. That's pretty basic. No, I know I'm not growing and evolving. I'm so goddamn bored with my partner. I don't even know that he exists most of the time. And he doesn't know that I exist most of the time. So, how do I get on? Well, it's about change, isn't it? So let's say you've gone to that route, you've done all of that work, and you have changed. Well, hopefully all of the changes, which is why people come and see me, because I have this neat little trick where I can look at people's chart and I can give them ideas and concepts how to move, or I kind of open up their mind and their psychological brain, and I give them concepts or ideas that perhaps they never thought about, or maybe they did think about and they need confirmation as to go ahead with that change in order to get rid of the thing that no longer serves them. So moving back to the aspect of that, we'll just say the relationship that no longer serves you. That takes a process, doesn't it? And you have to move through different emotional and mental processes to get rid of that particular relationship. So hopefully what you've done, perhaps maybe it's kick-started your partner in order to make that shift and change. So maybe they, all of a sudden they see you're changing and it stimulates them. It makes them vibrate at a certain level where, oh my God, I see she's doing a lot of things. So all of a sudden it's an energy field and it kickstarts them to start doing a whole bunch of things. And you're hoping that's what it's going to do. But if you reach the point where your partner's thought processes, their actions, their behaviors have not changed and have not acknowledged, and they don't even want to talk to you about what you've been doing or who you've been with or how your day was or what matters to you, then obviously something's wrong and you got to make the shift or the change, correct? I think so. So it's the process now that you need to go through. And the question is, can you do that alone? You may need a period of time to go through it alone, but it's good to have friends, and it's good to have body workers, so people that work with your energy to change and shift what's going on in your solar plexus. You need those types of people to move the energy. Flower remedies is definitely what I do, which really shifts the consciousness and really gets you motivated in that new pathway of assisting you, opening the pathways and the channels of your mind so that you can see and perceive the options of how to move forward, because the flower remedies or plants work naturally with cracking open the neural pathways. And then there's the actual process of the verbal one-on-one dialogue that is probably the best way to go. So hopefully you have a good friend, or you have a good mother, or for the men, hopefully you have a good man friend who you can talk to. Or perhaps you want to see the energy healer or a therapist of some shape or form. Therapist is a great way to go to talk with somebody one-on-one to help you go through the steps. People come to me, and I can go on because people, they want the tools as to how to go through it. Well, geez, there's things you have to do mentally, emotionally, physically, and that's what I do. I look at people's energy blueprints, which is their chart, which requires a birth date, a birth location, and a birth time. And your blueprint assists me with helping you confirm where you're at in the process of how to move to that next level, of how to get rid of the things that no longer serve you. Because sometimes you question yourself, you doubt yourself, you don't even know if really, if maybe you're a sponge and you're picking this up off somebody else, or perhaps this is your own stuff. So this is where I can help you without going on like Mel for another 25 minutes at least, because everybody is a universe upon themselves. And just because I would give you, say, a tool through YouTube right now, does not mean it's going to work for you. And I know that because I've had lots of emails saying, Mel gave me, I watched that YouTube video on this, and it didn't work for me. Well, no, he's giving you an experience of most likely what worked for maybe 80% of his clients, including himself. So that's why YouTube is great for me, Mel, to connect with you. But at the same time, doesn't mean that what we're saying is pertinent, exactly tailored to you. So if you decide that you want to make a shift or a change in your life, and I will hopefully maybe elaborate a bit more on what's going on right now in the world in regards to your own personal development and where that shift is taking place. Hopefully I can possibly make another video about that. But in the meantime, if you want to connect with myself, because Mel is quite booked up these days, and if you can get in, I could put you on a cancellation list. If you decide you are in a crisis situation and Mel is unavailable, I am here to also assist you. I just have not had time with all of the elaborate work and education that I have been going through to develop who and what I am. You can connect with myself at twinflames.ca, email me at reunion@twinflames.ca, and hopefully my next few videos will be with Mel again, or perhaps I'll look at this 101 list of questions and topics that Mel has put in front of me, whether to do with him or by myself. Have a wonderful weekend, and enjoy the biking weather. It's gorgeous out.